Hello. Today, we're going to be talking about what it took for me to get to where I am now as a player. I have just reached a modern championship point new high score. When I say modern, I mean I played a lot prior to 2016, but I'm back, and I'd argue better than ever, and I want to talk about how I got there. So, let's talk about how I got there, how I earned Ace Trainer the second year in a row, lessons learned, the process to improve, and where I'm going from here. This is Reaching New Heights. Ace Trainer again. Let's talk about what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the points breakdown, how I got there in just a very materialistic, if you want to know what decks I used to get there, here's the information type of way. Then we're going to talk about the process to get there, my step one of how I set goals and prepare, the run, the outcomes, and goals for 2027. And I will also put a disclaimer right here, way at the front of the video. I am letting you all know now that I was playing a lot of decks that have all primarily rotated. The deck lists are not going to be up to date in the current time frame. But that does not mean that the deck lists and the concept is fully outdated. There is still value to be taken away from every single thing I have to say, in my opinion. I know I'm biased. Let's look past it. Let's get into it right away. How did I get my Ace Trainer again? Well, I got 4 challenge wins. I kept my challenges for the first time since maybe 2015. I ended up doing it with a Piccoless Terror Box list, another Piccoless Terror Box list, and 2 variants of Jelly Guardy. Then cups. I got 2 top 4 cups with Piccoless Terror Box and Keys Pure Guardy, and 2 top 8s with Jelly Guardy. Then I also attended 1 regional, top 5-12 at Toronto Regionals on Jelly Guardy, and overall at 81.3% of championship point events I attended, I got points, or was eligible to get points. It leaves me at a new total of 212 for the season. Let's talk about how I got there. Season prep. What did I do to get to where I am? I set goals right away, and stretch goals. We'll talk about that in just a second. But number 1, I wanted to reach Ace Trainer once again. I wanted to get 200 points, get another one of those promos, because I love it oh so dearly. It sits nice and centered in my binder. I also wanted to win plural championship point events. I wanted to balance my schooling and learning with my Pokemon side, and I wanted to be more stable on how many events I went to and got a championship point conversion rate at. Then my stretch goals were to beat last year's points, to max my challenges, to integrate my learning and teaching practice into Pokemon, and to become more active in the community. So, what is a stretch goal? Why am I setting these stretch goals? Those sound like reasonable goals. Why are they stretches? Well, I do it for a few reasons. 1, I want to maintain my momentum. I want to avoid burnout. I want to make sure that when I'm not meeting goals, or when I'm so close to reaching all of my goals, but some of them are a lot harder to get to, I'm not being left out, burnt out, feeling as though I'm not accomplishing enough. I want to have a steady progression of accomplishing goals to reaching my vision. I have a lot of different targets set, a lot of lower targets, a lot of higher targets, and it makes it to where my goals are attainable. It is something I can reach. It is something that fills me with joy every time a new goal is reached. And then I have my stretch goals that if I can exceed my expectations in the base season, it gives me somewhere to go, somewhere to push, somewhere to reach out and really work on doing the best I can in the season at that point. And it also makes sure that everything stays achievable, keeping positive in unforeseen circumstances when a lot of obstacles are getting thrown your way. It gives you direction, and it ensures that you're able to accomplish a healthy amount of goals, but still have a vision, have goals that lead you into that vision, and have a clear understanding of what will keep you happy and present, what will keep you happy once you're done that happy and present, and where you're trying to get to. It keeps your vision in sight, but it makes it not overwhelming to take on all at once. So, for context reasons, where did I end last season? I ended with a cup win, of course. It was one of the bigger moments out of that little era, and I was on a Terror Box high after that. I really wanted to push Terror Box as far as it could, because it wasn't played that much locally, but I had just done really well at a local event with it. I didn't secure a sponsorship or a team during the prior season. That was okay with me. It was a stretch goal anyways, and even to this point, it is still a stretch goal, as much as I would like to see it. And I am someone who ended last season wanting to learn why that one cup in particular was so good for me, and how I can take that and move it into the next season. Is it the deck? Is it the direction? Is it the archetype? Is it the archetypal themes? Is it the player mentality? What was it that got me through to that season? So let's talk about my first challenge win. September, Picoless, Terror Box. Immediately a big departure from where I was last season. I wanted to start experimenting. Experimenting without Pika is to test this idea of investment cost. It takes a lot of resources to charge a Pikachu. It takes 2 energy and a crystal, or 3 energy, which means that you're normally resorted to Crispin, or Teal Mask Energy Switch, or both, or Trumpet Energy Switch. There's a lot of things that you need to get a Pikachu off. And I was like, okay, that is a lot of resources. Why did I like Terror Box so much? So I went to this event intending to figure that out. I wanted a lot of low cost or easily recurrable Pokemon slots to be available. I wanted to prioritize on Terrapagos and Clefairy as my primary attackers, as they were two energy attackers that I could charge very easily with ATL Mask Energy Switch plus energy or Crystal Energy. I wanted to make sure I didn't sacrifice all of my damage numbers. I kept full Canyon to hit those ranges, and I wanted to ensure that I was still able to deny Pheasantipity wherever possible. So I added full Canyon. Terrapagos hits 240, Goldango was the big bad after Worlds. I wanted to knock it out in one shot, 240 plus 20. That got me to my end outcome. That was good enough for me. And honestly, I just want to figure out how the 60 clicked. And what I realized off of this win is that it is having consistent lines, but more importantly, trying to not overexert your resources at every point, and trying to make sure that you had as many options available to you at any point in time that would get you to those end outcomes. For example, one-shotting Pikachu. In my prior list, my only option was Pikachu. One-shotting Goldango. My only option was to one-shot with Pikachu. Now I have Terrapagos with full Canyon, I have Blood Moon with full Canyon, I have a bit of avoidance that I can do through having my 3 bosses available, and I also have Saw Block options available, and last of all, I have Clefairy options, plus full Canyon for number fixing, also available. I have a lot of options to do a lot of things. That was a good takeaway. So I took the deck to a cup. I got top 4 at the cup, and I determined that the deck works. It's really good to have consistent lines that you can recur, do consistently, and reliably. In addition to that, I realized that my matchup routing was a lot easier when I didn't need to rely on too many cards to get to where I needed to go, and when I had so many options and versatile understanding of the deck to operate and pilot those matchups. Studying for matchups and how to deal with things being prized and in different options was very, 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 very good for me in the long run. Studying and practicing mattered, but I had noticed that Jellycardy kind of was a problem because Disruption really hurt the deck. Even when I wasn't relying on having massive combos to recur Pikachus, Disruption still really hurt my game plans. So, early season takeaways: learning a deck, the intricacies, the matchups, and everything of that sort makes games cleaner. It makes it easier. It means that when things aren't going your way, you're able to adapt and overcome a lot easier. Becoming an expert in your deck advances your growth. It means that you're able to adapt your list, adapt to your 60, adapt to the game plans that are working, and really master your craft. Experimentation also led me to discover a lot about archetypal themes in the context of the games. And last but not least, understanding my deck's weaknesses led me to doing my first major decklist change of the season, which was a complete archetypal shift. I changed off to become a villain. Guardy Keys. So, for Guardy Keys, I have strong lines and options available to me, And in general, I'm just playing a strong deck. It turns out that you're able to do a lot with unlimited energy, who would have guessed? But dealing with counterplay was a must for me in building this deck list and ensuring that all of the resources were available for me, having options for ability lock, having options for big damage, having options in order to charge up when my guardies go down, having options to get Monkey Dory out into play, having options to evo into my Curlias under item lock, having options to get a lot of tankiness. There was a lot of option management that I was going through. Disruption is very strong. 4 Iono is something I only go off of a single time through the rest of the season, you're going to notice. And I wish Disruption was in our current standard, but that is beyond me. Regardless, I was having a bit of difficulty in the early games, all things considered, and I was having a bit of trouble with the amount of data that I had to keep track of because there were so many moving parts and active effects and passive effects, and really it was just a big learning curve for me to take on right away in order to properly work on the deck. So I did another pivot. I went to Jelly Guardy. It was a very strong, consistent curve for me. Early game was consistent, mid game was consistent, late game was consistent, and I had a lot of options in all stages of the game. In addition to that, Diancie was just a really nice upgrade. It gave me a lot of potency that I otherwise didn't have. I did miss TM Evo. It would be nice for option coverage in Mirror and into Pult. Frelish and Badu really do lock you down more than you think. And overall, I kind of wanted a more consistent and less high-rolly way to get into all of my routes. You'll notice that in these past lists, I've been very shy of Arven. I'm going to go back into the Arven chain in order to have more reliable routing, and Noctowl high rolling was real, and it was scary, and I didn't like it. So I had to find a way out of the Noctowl's basically prison, and I went to regionals. Go watch my video, I've already released it, but basically it's the best of all worlds. 2/2 Guardy. It was a bit greedy, but I realized that I have Evo lines that'll help me in Mirror, Candy lines that'll help me with aggression where needed into things like Dango. Option selection was amazing for the event. There was a lot of very diverse lines for me to choose from, not just overall game plans and how I want to play each matchup, but different ways to reach those end outcomes based on the matchup if my hands aren't going my way, and it was a very flexible list. I am very happy with it. I'm happy with the way the disruption came out, the way that my option coverage came out. I'm very happy with this list, and it's going to stick that I want to master the list more and more, work on other matchups, work on other lines, and figure out how to deal with different scenarios. For example, my 4th cup win, same list. You can go and check in the little, I don't know what it is, my title, my label, whatever it is. While you're down there though, go and hype the video. If you're on mobile, go give a thumbs up if you're on desktop, or maybe leave a comment on what you think the biggest thing to keep in mind to improve as a player has been in your journey. One thing that I'll say for my answer to that question is that I was very key that after playing the deck more and more and using the same Pokemon more and more, all of my lists have had Latios, Fez, Clefairy, and Mew. I've really grown in my knowledge of play, how I'm approaching my lines, how I'm approaching the game, and the different versatile matchups that I'm taking and different versatile lines I'm taking into weird deck lists. My 2nd challenge win, same list again, with again, learnt lines, learnt variants, and I'm doing something every single game. Even if it's not exactly what I want to do, I can miss the line and be okay with it. The one note I did have for this event is that I hadn't used Screamtail in a few events. It was starting to feel like a bit of a dead card based on how the meta was adapting, and I did want to try and maximize the 60. Go to my 3rd challenge win, I'm on Pika's Terror Box again. Why am I on Pika's Terror Box again? Because it's Rogue, and I got tired of playing meta. I wanted to play a bit of Rogue. I wanted to play a deck that played to its extremes, got its lines very, 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 very consistently, so that even if it wasn't the same game plan every single game, I could still get that same game plan and line almost every single time, or have different ways of getting to the same end outcome every single time, with contingencies like my new addition of Trumpet, E-Hammer to slow down Pult, Terra Ball in order to guarantee my Wellspring, going back up to 2 Wellspring, 2 Water to guarantee my Water Pawns are getting off, Trumpet for either Kangaskhan or Terrapagos for damage ranges, mid-game Blood Moons where needed, Clefairy hitting all of the same ranges as before, re-adding Kieran so that I had additional options in how I could knock out Ceruledge in one hit beyond Mew. For example, Kieran plus Terrapagos, Kieran plus Blood Moon would be a really consistent way to deal with those issues. And it was also good into Tank Kanga, but I don't want to get into that matchup. It's a headache. I spent a very long time trying to figure it out, and I basically just summarized to get lucky. Didn't face it this tournament. Sometimes the variance goes your way. I wanted to keep my options open, even if they seemed a little bit weaker. My 4th challenge, the day before rotation, I cut the Screamtail in my Gardevoir list for the Spectrier, the horse. And finally, I had answers into Tank Kanga more reliably, I had ways into Crustle more reliably, I had ways to chain damage more reliably, even when my opponent wasn't playing to my plan, and I got a lot more pressure out than what Frillish was able to do prior. I determined that it was better into Shaman, better into Kanga Crustle, better to Cycle, and overall I answered to my local metagame perfectly by making a very simple deck swap, and I kept all of my lines intact. So my end of format takeaways, what did I take from everything? I understand my deck, I understand my lines, I understand what to do, how to do it, how to go about different matchups. My personal experience taught me how to handle variance way better than going from deck to deck ever would have, and my knowledge has grown dramatically. Now, I don't think that either of those decks that I had shown you prior had any necessarily awful matchups. There was a plan for everything, and even if some matchups are harder than others, there was always a way. And there was always a bit of knowledge that I had gained over my time mastering my archetypes, and it rewarded me. So for the next season, what am I looking to do? I want to get the metagame. I want to learn why trends are emerging. I want to learn why decks get popular and get less popular. This Pult Hammers thing going on is crazy. I want to figure out more about it. I also want to reach a new high score. 214 is the new score to beat. I want to diversify my deck archetypes a little bit more, and I want to find a sponsor or team. Like I said earlier though, stretch goals. What are my stretch goals? I want to try and get a second Limitless entry. I'm likely only going to 1 regional, but it would be lovely if I could get another Limitless entry onto my repertoire, especially while I'm looking for a sponsor. In addition, integrating TCG into professional practice, for example, I don't know, designing your own card game would be a pretty cool way to get everything working, and I'm sure I will upload a video about that a little bit later on as well. In addition to that, I am also going to be developing statistics resources to work on mid-gaming, optimizing lines, and figuring out how to get through certain situations and board states in more reliable ways. And I want to continue my own craft. Content, deck building, you name it, I want to keep working on it while I can. Last but not least, I want to introduce myself once again for those of you who've never met me before. The name's Kisa. Modern Regional State 2, top 128 at Los Angeles 2024. I know it's a while ago, that's why I want another one. We'll see what I can do. In addition, top 8 at Regionals 2016, state top 4 in 2015, 2 Ace Trainer titles, a Rogue Specialist, a deck builder over a player, but always looking to help people improve. I'm looking for a team and or sponsor, and I will catch you guys all whenever I catch you. You can catch me through YouTube, through the big subscribe button. You can also let me know down in the comment section what you guys are thinking of doing for the next couple of formats. If you're on mobile, hype the video. If you're not on mobile, like the video. You can also catch me live on rare occasion on another platform if you would like. You can hear all my opinions on another link, or you can talk to me directly, because that's always the best way to help a small streamer grow, to get to know them and spread the word. Thank you guys all for listening in. I'll catch you all later.